that it's low income, so it's okay, and the city shouldn't do anything about it. I think it's just wrong.
If I could respond, first of all, let me say I strongly agree with the vast majority of the work that WHRA has done, like in Bright Plains and elsewhere, to provide workforce housing, which is so necessary. That being said, I have a respectful disagreement with Mr. Hallman on this issue for a couple of reasons. Number one, this housing was workforce housing because people who were, these were not students living there, these were low-income workers, could live in this place. And now it's being sold for over $300 or maybe just over $400,000, which is that's affordable housing for people in the workforce. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, you know, there is a desire, and I understand it, to try and flip neighborhoods like Harrison Avenue that are about 60% rental to lower that. But I think it would cost us far too much money. The city's already lost, depending on who you ask, between $20,000 and $40,000, depending on the article you read, $1,000 on this, and we cannot afford to keep doing this.
Yes, my issue really is just government involvement in private property, and it has to do with the putting the government in the deeds, which is the no rental clause that the housing authority has, and the housing authority is free to do what it wishes. It's not part of council, but council is supporting the housing authority in this endeavor, so they're responsible for that. And the right of first refusal on the deed. This runs with the property. It is a government stamp on private property, and it has no end. And this is a very concerns me greatly. There's over 60 homes now where government is part of the deed. So whatever the good intentions are, it's a troublesome trend, and I think that a better avenue would be, if you wish to help people purchase a home, help them purchase a home, but stay out of their deed.
Do I have 30 seconds to comment? One of the considerations in looking at that is we understood that units would be going off the market, but the Housing Authority also has the plans to build 4 units over the building we're going to hopefully construct next to the delis. Lose 2, gain 4. Last time I took math, that was a plus. Secondly, I'll take exception with the owner-occupied clause that Mr. Wheel's concerned with, because essentially virtually all the properties that the Housing Authority deals with get some type of subsidy, either federal, state, or local subsidy, and in exchange for that, we put an owner-occupied clause in. It doesn't mean the house can never be rented. There are conditions under which it can be rented, but they are specific and they need to be known by everyone.
Thank you. Other people with questions?
Hi, my name is Michael Douglas. I'm from the class of 2011. Ms. Knudsen and Mr. Freiling, you two especially spoke favorably about the neighborhood councils. Students here were dismayed to hear the attacks on us by Jim Joseph, a member of the local neighborhood council. And I was wondering whether the two of you, especially, and the rest of the candidates, if they desire, would condemn the statements by Mr. Joseph against the student body.
I was at that meeting. Mr. Joseph was talking about the fact that the 3 committees that the neighborhood council had put together had failed to meet. And he was very frustrated. He was not speaking against the student body at all. He was very annoyed about a couple of Flathead articles that he felt had demonized the city. But it was the basic issue was the fact that the committees that he himself had worked so hard to try to put together simply had not met, and he was very frustrated.
Mr. Freiling?
I'm sorry, I wasn't at the neighborhood council meeting. Is there a specific statement that Mr. Joseph made that you have concern about that you could share?
When he suggested that that members of the student body had compared the mayor to Hitler was one of the primary statements I was displeased about.
It was the Flathead that called the mayor Hitler, and he said it was the Flathead. He did not say anything about members of the student body.
The Flathead is run by members of the student body, and actually a search of Flathead archives indicates that the Flathead has never compared any member of the city council to Hitler.
Can I just say, sorry. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay. I don't condone name calling.
Neither do I.
That's just wrong. I mean, if we have disagreements, let's talk about the issue and let's resolve it. There have been articles in the Flat Hat that compared living in Williamsburg to living in Rwanda to living in Afghanistan. That may have been what Mr. Joseph was referring to. I wasn't there, I can't tell you, but no, I don't condone name calling. The neighborhood council has been successful because they've facilitated communication among neighborhoods and between neighborhoods and the students. The campus is a neighborhood in Williamsburg, and they're a welcome member of that council. And Mr. Joseph has worked harder than anybody to facilitate that conversation, that cooperation, and to help us work together. But no, I do not condone name calling.
Can I just say, I don't condone name calling either. What I thought was unfortunate was that at that meeting, Mr. Joseph said that members of the student body had to condemn this. I had never heard anyone compare the mayor to Hitler. Let me say, I think you're in the audience, Mayor Zeidler. If anyone's ever compared you to Hitler, I absolutely, categorically condemn them. That is completely wrong. Same thing with comparing the situation to Rwanda or Afghanistan. Again, that's completely wrong, and I said so in my quotes in the Daily Press. Let me just say, though, that one other thing that Mr. Joseph said was that the students were going to use their votes as a weapon. I'd like to address one thing about that, and this might take me a little more time, but people have encouraged me on my staff to encourage students to single shot for me, to tell students, don't vote for any of these other candidates up here, come out and just vote for Matt Beato. I absolutely do not want anyone in the audience to do that. What I want you to do is to look at the 6 candidates up here and make your own informed choice about who is best for the city. Whether that's 2 people, 3 people, or 1 person, vote for as many as you feel comfortable. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, and I don't think that's using votes as a weapon at all. I'd like to think that's somewhat honorable, at least.
Was there someone else who wished to respond to that? No? Okay.
Hi, my name is Max Fisher. I'm a member of the senior class. I hope you don't mind. My question's a little long, so I wrote it down, so I'm going to read from that. The other morning, as I got on my bike to ride to class from my rental house on Harrison Avenue, I was nearly hit by an errant car speeding down a residential street. I was fine, but the irresponsible driver, whose car had a Williamsburg resident street parking pass sticker, had put me in real danger. Later that morning, I saw the same driver pulled over by Williamsburg police and presumably given a ticket for speeding. And I was glad because I knew justice had been done. The reckless driver had been punished and, more importantly, deterred from future speeding and from endangering people like me, which I appreciate. However, sometimes justice in Williamsburg is enforced differently. Last spring, 38 residents, who also happened to be students, were evicted for their homes for violating the 3-person rule. The idea, again, presumably, was that though most had committed no crimes, there was a potential for noise and parking violations. And this is, of course, true. Large concentrations of students can sometimes be noisy, can sometimes crowd parking, and those are both legitimate disturbances. But it seems strange to me that whereas speeders who endanger the lives of others are made to pay a $50 fine, college students who have the potential to endanger the parking spots of others can be fined up to $3,000 and can be evicted from their homes. Speeders clearly present more of a danger than noisy members, clearly to me at least. But as far as I know, and I hope you correct me if I'm wrong, no one in City Council has suggested forcibly removing all the speeders from the community. So my question, and this is for anybody who would like to answer it, is when is it morally acceptable to remove a Williamsburg resident from their home? Thank you.
Number 1, 38 students were not removed from their homes. 38 students received letters saying they were in violation of the ordinance, that since it was so late in the semester, they could stay in their houses or where they were living until the end of the semester. So they were not evicted from their homes. They were told they were in violation of the law. I don't know what else, to say. I mean, it's simply not right, what you're saying.
But they had to move at the end of the semester.
Yes, the semester was over.
I'm pretty sure the law still allows to remove students from the homes. And it's also important to note they weren't fined. But there's a possibility in the law that they could have been fined $3,000 and they could have been...
But they weren't.
But it's still been fined just for the law allowing.
sorry, this is not a back and forth. Would anyone else like to address this issue?
Let me just say, first of all, I think it was good that the city did allow them to stay there till May. That hadn't happened in the past. I'm very glad that time that they did it. That having said, I've expressed my disagreements with various aspects of the rule in the past. That hasn't changed. And I don't think it's